Greetings, mathematicians. Today we're going to be calculating standard deviation from this set of data. There are 10 test scores. Because there are 10 test scores, our n value, the number of data points, is 10, and we do need to know the n value to calculate standard deviation. We also need to know the average. These 10 scores, when you add them all together, add up to 660 and divide that by 10, the number of items. Then we get an x bar value of 66. So the average is 66, and we're going to need both of these to find the standard deviation. So right now what I'm going to do is put these test scores in order from least to greatest. Alright, so the test scores have been put in order from least to greatest. So that's our x is our individual data points. Here we need the difference from the mean, and notice it's in parentheses. So if we follow that format, we would get 22 minus 66. That number comes out to be negative 44. And if we continue to follow that pattern, then the next one is going to be the data point 29 minus 66. This gets us negative 37, and then we just continue that pattern on. Alright, so the list has been completed for the second column, the difference from the mean. So every data point minus the average in parentheses gives us these values here. The third column, which is going to help us, is going to be the difference from the mean squared. So it's this value in parentheses, that's the key part, in parentheses squared. So negative 44 in parentheses squared is going to give us positive 1,936. And if we follow the next one, negative 37 in parentheses squared, that value is going to be 1,369, and we're going to follow that pattern all the way down. Alright, so we've completed the last column here, and now we need to find the sum of the difference from the mean squared. So all of these values that we calculated after squaring them in their parentheses, we need to add them all together. This symbol right here is the summation symbol, the Greek letter sigma. There is a typo on this paper. It should have squared here because it's all of these values together, add them all up. And when we do that, we get the number 8,338. This is the sum of all of the differences from the mean squared. Now, we're going to take that number and divide it by n minus 1. This is what goes inside of the square root symbol of finding standard deviation. So if we were to do that, the 8,338 divided by 10 minus 1, our n value was 10, so divided by 9, that's going to give us 900, or approximately 926.44. That's called the variance. We're not going to get really involved too much more with variance. What we're actually going to do is calculate the standard deviation, which would be the square root of this value here. However, I do want you to put this all in one step, so it would be in your calculator, graphing calculator, square root symbol, and then control divide to get your fraction template. However, if we did take the square root of that, then we would get our standard deviation here. So the standard deviation for here, if we put it all in the square root symbol, so let's see, that would be 8,338 divided by 9, gives us a standard deviation of 30.44. And that's our standard deviation for this set of data.